Hi everybody, it's me Jill and welcome to Jill Informed, Season 1 series. This is the recap of The Real Housewives of Potomac, Season 1, Episode 11, The Reunion Part 1. Wow, we have come to the end of this season already. Went by fast for me, you guys. It was short, to be fair. It was only a 10-episode season. And we only have 2 reunions. So there's just this one, and next week is part 2. That's the final. So, well, let's just get into it. We see the ladies, and they are sparkly, let me just say. Every last one of them is in glitter and shining brightly. They look gorgeous. They also look like housewives. It is such a distinct look to me, the way housewives dress up, the hair and the makeup and the way they dress. It's like, how can I describe this? It's like drag. I don't mean that this looks like drag. I just mean it's as distinctive as a drag look is. A housewife look is just a very specific kind of thing. It's a very over-the-top, highly spanked. I mean, they look like they've got Spanx on under their dresses from neck to ankles. 4 layers of Spanx. I mean, nothing is moving. They're just in there tight. The girls, right up around the throat, nice and high. I mean, it is a very specific look. And the Housewives of Potomac are no different than any other season, but they do look beautiful. The biggest change, I guess I would say, would be Robyn, just because she's got the long curly blonde hair. Everyone else pretty much looks the way they did during the season. Ashley's got like a blowout, but I think she's done that during the season too. I'm not sure. We start off with Andy saying hello to all the ladies and then asking them how this felt. This was season 1, so they are all first-time housewives, and he starts by asking them how was the experience. Robyn said that it's just surreal. She goes, "It's so surreal to me, Andy. I don't even feel like I'm sitting here on the couch. I'm on cloud 9, Andy." Charisse said everyone was attacking me on social media. As a person, she said that they think I think I'm too good for everybody else. Your tagline was, "If I don't know you, you're not worth knowing." So, gee, I wonder where they got the idea that you were full of yourself. Karen said, "I was attacked personally." She said, "This mole isn't going anywhere, and it's called a beauty mark." Katie said, "I got a lot of negative personal advice, like you're too desperate to get married." I mean, that seems fair. If these women actually watched the show, they would understand why they're getting these comments. So Andy says to Katie, "I noticed you don't have an engagement ring on." Yeah. And she goes, "Well, I have a ring on, but no, it's not an engagement ring. I gave that back to Andrew yesterday." Yesterday. Yeah. Karen, "I'm not surprised." Oh my God. So Andy's like, "Oh no, yesterday, really?" And she said, "On the way here." So he said, "Okay, well, I'm sorry. We'll talk about it later." I guess viewers were annoyed by all the etiquette talk, and Gizelle goes, "So was I." And Karen goes, "I was too, actually." Come on. You two were the ones perpetuating all the etiquette talk. Particularly Karen, but Gizelle talked about it a lot too. Andy asked Karen, "What was your reaction to hearing that Katie called your gala a podunk cocktail party?" And I was like, good, we're starting right away with like calling people out on stuff. No, I should have known it was going to be unsatisfying. Katie goes, "Oh, I thought it was supposed to be some grand affair. It turns out it's something that I could have put together in 4 days." Gizelle, "Katie, you didn't throw anything together." Because, she ended up not even having her charity ball. And Karen goes, "Katie knew it was a cocktail party for a very important cause." Okay, yes, but call her out on the fact that you were going to have a big affair, Karen. But Ray asked you not to because it was honoring his mom and he and his siblings were still feeling a little raw about it. I wanted that to come out. It didn't. They never talked about that, which annoyed me because I wanted Katie to feel bad and embarrassed and apologize to her or Ray. Then Robyn kind of piled on to Karen and said that I didn't understand why we were even there and you should have just donated to the Alzheimer's Association instead. So I don't know. I mean, maybe it was a little janky. I don't know. Like we see Karen's montage and the discussion becomes about Karen liking her eye candy. And she kind of laughs about that. And, they refer back to her wanting a hot pilot. And then she also makes a comment about the waiters at Ashley's birthday party being hot. And she goes, oh yeah, Ray doesn't mind. I think it adds to our marriage. And somebody, Katie, I think said, yeah, but Karen wouldn't let Ray do the same. She would go crazy if Ray did that. Or maybe it was Gizelle that said that because then Katie said, yeah, and she thinks everybody wants Ray. Karen, I do. There are a lot of single women in Potomac. And Gizelle goes, but they don't want Ray. But, the look Karen gives her, scary. We do touch on Andrew's description of Karen when he was describing the women to Ashley and said that she was something about her being old, right? I can't remember what it was exactly. Karen says, he doesn't even know me. Andy asks, do you think that Andrew was just expressing Katie's opinion? Gizelle goes, of course. And Katie's like, no, that's not true. And Gizelle goes, you said Andrew just says what I think. Now Katie goes after both Gizelle and Karen. She said, there was no ticker tape parade when Gizelle came back to Potomac. And Karen is no grande dame other than in her own head. They're delusional. Karen goes, who is Andrew anyway with the missing digit? Missing digit? Did you guys know? I never even saw, the cameras now show us that he only has half of a finger, his ring finger. I guess he was in a car accident because Katie said, oh, that's proper etiquette, isn't it? Making fun of someone who was in a car accident. It's always okay to make fun of Andrew, though, in my opinion. Next is Ashley. I guess this is dumb. Some viewer thought that she should take better care of her mom. You're married to a millionaire. Why did you even let your mom get in bankruptcy? And she ended up having to defend that. I take very good care of my mom. Andy asks a shady question. He said, since Karen and Charisse are about the same age as your mother, do you look at them as mother figures? Andy Cohen. She's like, no, Andy. Another viewer, Donna, said, Gizelle, your comment about Ashley's hair was offensive. For someone who dyes her hair blonde and wears green contact lenses, you really should appreciate the natural beauty of Black women more. Her response was just, I was born with these green eyes, Donna, so get your facts straight. No addressing the comment about Ashley's hair, though. Gizelle and Karen deny being jealous of Ashley because she's young and beautiful. There was a lot of talk about them not accepting her because of that. We get to Ashley grinding on Robyn when they've met at that party. Robyn said, you don't hump someone you just met. That's not proper decorum. Try that at an investors meeting for your restaurant. See how far you get. Okay, that was a dumb comment. And Ashley called her on it. She's like, what? Why would you try to make that correlation? I wasn't at an investors meeting. I was at a party and I was dancing. Why would you draw that parallel? It makes no sense. And she goes, it is a moot point. Moot, moot, moot. And Charisse corrects her and says, mute. It's mute. Andy looks over at Charisse, and I think at first he thought she was kidding, and then he just kind of goes, oh, bless your heart. That was awkward. Next, the thoughtish comment comes up. I think Ashley gets the best of Gizelle during this, though, because she said, I would never call another woman a hoe. And Giselle's trying to say, I didn't call you a hoe. I said you were thought-ish. But Ashley's like, I would never do that to another woman, and I don't think it was good for your daughters to see that either. Next, we go back to the very beginning of the season with Charisse's crab boil. and the troubles between Charisse and Karen and Gizelle when Gizelle had invited them to that lunch with those cards. Oh, God. We get to Karen telling Gizelle that she's as phony as a $10 bill. So they make fun of that. Robyn's like, what's phony about a $10 bill? And she goes, I was corrected by somebody on social media that told me what I meant to say. It's supposed to be a $3 bill. I meant to say that. I made a mistake. It was just a fraudulent slip. Katie goes, Freudian. Oh, God. This is funny. Next, there is a big discussion about what is offensive and what isn't. Charisse is called out on the fact that she said Gizelle was ghetto. And Charisse is like, well, that's just what we say. I'm not making fun of anything or any place because she said she should go back to Baltimore. And I'm not making fun of Baltimore, she said. That's where she's from. If she was from Kansas City, I would say go back to Kansas City. Then Karen is called out on calling Cal the help. Robyn's like, I hope you understand like how offensive that is. Even if a person is in the service industry, for you to call them the help is wrong. I know. You don't have to school me on that. I know. I understand working. My first job was working at a Taco Bell and a Burger King. And Katie's like, I can't. I'm having a hard time imagining Karen in a Taco Bell uniform. And she said, I worked the drive-through window. Somebody asked if she had a headset. And then Robyn goes, they didn't have headsets back then. So shady to each other, you guys. Now it's Robyn's turn. We discuss Juan, of course, and her relationship with Juan and the arrangement and how they live together, but they're not married and all that stuff. We talk about how often they have sex, whatever, who cares? She said that she needs to reassess the relationship. Andy asked her if she loved him. She said, yes, I love him. Are you in love with him? She was asked, and she said no. And that surprised even Gizelle, because Gizelle is rooting for them to get back together. She didn't know that Robyn wasn't in love with him. Robyn said that he says he's in love with her, but she just isn't there yet. She does think there's a chance that they will remarry, but she said, I don't know what we need exactly. Maybe therapy, maybe something else. I don't know. He did cheat on her a lot. She is chalking that up to him being a professional athlete. I don't know if it's fair for her to stereotype like that. I mean, maybe it is prevalent. Maybe women do kind of throw themselves as professional athletes, I would imagine. But of course, it's not fair to throw everybody in the same category. But that was the case with Juan, I guess. We also find out, she said, there's more to that story with our friend who took all our money. Apparently, after it came out and they discovered that it was him, he killed himself. He jumped off a bridge. Horrible. She said, the piece of that people aren't really getting is that he was their friend. The kids called him uncle. I mean, he was a huge part of their lives. And yeah, wow, what a tragedy. Andy asked her how much money they lost in all of that. And she's like, a lot. And you know how Andy is, he presses and he goes like hundreds of thousands. And she said, yeah. Ashley admits that she should not have gossiped about Robyn's financial woes. She still maintains that she was just trying to get to know her. She said, I Google everybody I meet for the first time, but I was wrong to talk about it. We move on to race and how that was such a big issue for some of the women. We get a montage. Gizelle gets called out on stereotyping Black people. Andy asks her if she regrets it. She says no. Part 1 ends with Katie working Robyn's last nerve. Robyn is like, you better get security here because she can barely stay in her seat. She wants to throttle Katie. And Katie's like, or what? What are you going to do? Oh, I hate that. This is all revolving around Katie and how Black she is or isn't. And the fact that Gizelle and Robyn both think that Katie looks down on her Black heritage, which, by the way, Katie says is absurd. She would never. And that is the end of. So, we're going to be picking up right where we left off with that. That's it for me this week. Thank you for joining me. I will be back next week for the wrap up to season 1 of The Real Housewives of Potomac. I hope you join me. Please subscribe, give this video a like, and leave a comment down below. I love to hear from you guys. I'll see you next week. Bye.